Hello, welcome to Paleo Greenbird. I'm Greenbird, and today I wanted to do a little bit of flint knapping, so I thought, why not turn the camera on and see what happens. I don't have anything in particular in mind, but I do have a beautiful piece of Flint Ridge right here. It's got a little bit of quartz in it, some quartz pockets here and there, quite a few actually. But it's got some really nice ridges, so I thought maybe we would take a couple of microblades as we try to thin this out to make a point out of it. So the first thing that I see is that this ridge right here, it's very protruding. I would like to get rid of that. I do have a hinge right there, so I need to hit it high on the platform to undercut all of that. And I think that's how I'm going to start. Let's see if I can cut that out. I'm going to try and thin this out and maybe get a couple of tools out of it as well. I'm going to use copper today, mostly because I just don't really have a good ammo kit. I would like to get one. I'm going to use a big billet here. This is a lead head, and this is I think an 1.25 inches. I have some solid copper I might use as well. Let's see what I can do. Alright. So I did clean up that side a little bit, took off some Cortex. And I know we talked about tools. I've got myself a little microblade here. I think I might save a couple of these Flint Ridge microblades. I'm going to maybe do a video on microblades. I left myself with a platform on either end, here and here. You'll notice I'm wearing a glove today, and that is because last time I flint knapped, which I don't have on video, I really wish I did, I cut myself really bad. Not a big cut, but just a really, really deep cut. I actually had the preform or the biface of one of the Flint Ridge pieces that we were using. I was using in a different video, and I thought I'd clean it up just a little bit to get it ready to do a finishing video. And I was free knapping off the hand, and it just shot a razor sharp flake right into my hand. Not, like I said, not big, but really deep, almost to the bone. Wouldn't stop bleeding. So basically the reason that I'm wearing the glove today is just so that I don't reopen that wound. It seems to be in a strange spot where I'm always hitting it. So I'll wear the glove today. You can make fun of me in the comments all you want. Alright, so I'm going to hit this platform right here. Try and take off a flake along with a little more Cortex. We'll flatten this out. We might get a tool at the same time. We'll see. And I'm going to stick with this big bopper. It's a little bigger than I normally use, but so is this piece of stone. I hit a little high. Oh, that gave me a big flake. Nice. Check that out. So there was a platform that I hit. I told you I was going to hit it aggressively, and I did. And check that out. That'll be something. That's going in the keeper box. Let's take a quick look at the rock, see what's going on. I think I'm going to switch up. I could take a platform right here, drive off a thinning flake, but I think I'm going to actually flip to the other side, take off this, because I think it'll take off not only a good thinning flake, but also a lot of that Cortex. But you can see that that platform is really low. It stands a good chance of either crumbling, or I'm going to have to hit it really high. And if I hit it really high, I have to hit it with enough force where it's not going to hinge, which, you know, can be done, but maybe a better idea is just to clean up that platform a little bit. Just a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot. Alright. I think that was enough. I'm going to grind it. still going to need to hit it a little bit high. I mean, I guess I don't have to. I could take a really thin flake if I wanted to. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to feather that flake off on the other side. Actually, as I look at this, that might not be the best flake to take right now. Yeah, you know what? I'm still going to take that flake, but I'm going to take it a little bit thinner than I thought originally. I was going to go for a nice, deep, aggressive flake, but I'm just going to try and skin that cortex off for now. Yeah, I got a flake, but it's kind of an ugly one. Trying to figure out how this goes back together. Something like this, yeah. So I got a flake. I got some nasty, hingy stuff, which is, at this point, not really a huge deal. But I think I'm going to try and undercut that stuff by taking an aggressive flake. I hit it a little bit high. There we go. So you can see that flake went all the way across. Cleaned up some of that stuff. This is definitely a flake I'm going to keep. This is a thick flake. It's a little bit weird looking, but... So there you go. So there's that flake. I can pressure flake that. Not pressure. I mean, it's going to need more percussion, but I can eventually pressure flake that into a pretty nice point. So I'll save that also. And back to the spall. So I think I'm going to take this platform right here, just because I don't want the rock to get too thin on one side. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to stop talking about everything I'm doing and just do some napping. I have kind of a funny story. So it comes back. Oh, 3 strikes and you're out. It comes back to when I cut myself. So I always tell people, and I always make sure that I have Band-Aids in my napping kit, in my bucket. And so when I cut myself, first thing I did was go to my bucket to get my Band-Aids. Pulled out a bunch of Band-Aids trying to find the right size, only to discover that I had put Breathe the Right strips in my bucket, not Band-Aids. Oh, I didn't want that to happen. So anyway, I go to get my Band-Aids, and I open it up, and it's a Breathe Right strip. I don't even know how that got in there. I'm guessing it's just I thought it was a Band-Aid, crammed them all in there. Turns out I was wrong. But just thought I'd share that with you. Blade. So here I am, bleeding like a stuck pig, looking for a Band-Aid. Everything I pick up is a Breathe Right strip. So the moral of that story is make sure that you have Band-Aids, because that was not a fun experience for me. Ooh, I'm really concerned about that crack going down the middle. I really hope that we don't... I'm going to bill it down, but I really hope that we don't lose this piece. Beautiful micro blade right there. Razor sharp. Ooh, another one. Look at that. That's just beautiful. And those, oh, sorry, that's just beautiful. So those are the blades that you want to take. I mean, these will cut, I mean, they'll cut through my leather pad if I wanted to. If you're looking for tools, that's what you want. Just gonna try and get this down to the point where I can start to zigzag a little. So this crunchy edge here, I'm just taking that right off because I don't think there's much I can do with that. I'm going to try and just zigzag it a little bit. It's a little bit early on to be zigzagging, but I just feel like it's going to cause me problems. Better get rid of it now. Have to deal with it later. That's a good piece. Doing a lot of work here without grinding. Maybe not something I would recommend always doing, but I'm just doing some rough work right now, so sometimes I'll actually grind with my billet. There we go. You can feel it on my hand too. I'm glad I have my glove on. I'm sort of at a standstill. I'm not sure where to go next, so I'm going to zigzag. Got a nice little platform right here, so I'm just going to try and zigzag a little bit. Not trying to get flat, but just trying to get platforms. Because that's how you get it flat. Probably should have shown you that block a little bit more before I started to do the zigzagging, but it is really starting to help. There we go. So I'm losing a lot of material on this stone, but I'm getting a lot of tools out of it. So I'm not really too concerned about it. Try not to get so fixated that you forget about your support. You still do need good support here. Okay, it's a little too thin. Okay, so this edge kind of slopes this way towards me. I'm going to take advantage of that to try and take a couple flakes off, thin that off, so it's easier for me to zigzag. Like I said, don't really have a plan today. I just want to do some percussion and have some fun. So let's see here. A couple of platforms. Let's grind that off a little more. There we go. I'm trying to hit a little bit high. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Alright, so I think this is enough to at least help me zigzag it a little bit. was hoping to talk a little bit more about the tools, but I'm kind of getting caught up in bypacing this. Kind of got to work around the material that you have. I'm getting to that part where there's quartz. I'm just going to nap it like I always would, because I can't really change much about that, and just hope that I'm able to work through it. If I can keep that quartz in the piece, that'll look really nice. I should probably be grinding a little more. Alright, so now I have this kind of bifaced out a little bit, but I got a nice thick spot here in the back. So let's start working on reducing that, and then we'll try and shape it a little bit. I know this was a big rock and I ended up with a small point, but you know, that's just the way it is sometimes. You'll get a lot of tools out of there too. I mean, you could have one piece of flint that lasts you a year just because you're only cracking one tool out of it at a time. I mean, if you're looking for microblades like this to, you know, carve sticks or sharpen points or whatever you're going to do with it, then that's going to last you a lot longer than if you're trying to biface something out into a point. And of course, it was pretty square when we started with it too. But we'll probably make some longer points here in the future. There we go. So I have a hinge on this side right here. I'm going to try and take it off by hitting a platform on this side. You always want to take a hinge off from the opposite side. I don't know if we'll get all of it because of the angle, but we'll do our best. That was not a good hit. In fact, I think I'm going to fix that platform. I might need to bill it down a little bit. There's zigzagging this. There we go. The tip is still thinner than the center mass, but I am thicker on this back side, so that's what I want to start to address. This could probably just go. I'm already starting to kind of see what this is going to be. So don't be afraid to take stuff off, but also don't be afraid to leave it on there if you think you're going to need that, you know, to give you a platform to take off what you know you're going to need to take off later. It's time to bill it down. At least for some of these. Yep. Probably should have ground, and I paid the price. I got a hinge. we go. Pass that off. Not completely zigzagged over here. I could probably still use that bigger billet a little bit longer, but you know, that 1-inch billet is underrated. Move back up to it. I have kind of a weak platform though, so I need to fix that. There we go. Oh yeah, nice long flake. I'm glad I billeted it back up. I'm still learning. I'm just sharing my journey as I take it with you. There are a lot of people way better than me out there. If you want to watch them, I would suggest Paleo Man Jim. Really good. If you're into indirect percussion, Freeze Cracked, and Jack Crafty. If you're into Abo, Will Lord is really good. I mean, he's good at everything. He's just amazing. But he's also been napping for, you know, I'm guessing based upon what I know about him, probably at least 30 years. I see, hear that? That sound. You can tell when you hear that clink. You did something right. Alright. Just trying to read the stone. Trying to thin this down. So I got a thick spot in the back here. So I'm going to work on that next. And I've got some cleanup work to do, but I'm really more concerned about keeping the rock relatively even as far as thickness, because that can cause problems a number of different ways, either later on or even just right away. Okay, I should grind some more. Still at my 1-inch billet. I could probably billet down, but I'm not going to just yet. Oh, maybe I should. You get such beautiful flakes when you nap off the hand like this. Just support under your flake. Make sure you're keeping contact with the tip so you don't get end shock. It's good for cleanup. It's good for the full process, really. A lot of people use off-the-hand napping for the whole point. I have a lot of friends that do. But they're better than I am, so I'm going to stick with what I know works. So I got this kind of junky area here on the other side. It's a thick area, and it's got like some crumbly, I don't know, it's got a step over on this side and a crushed platform over here, so I think I need to take care of that before I move on. So if I'm going to snap the point, I want to do it now. I don't want to do it later. I'll take that. Looking for a platform that's that runs along the thickest area that I can see. Find that. That's what I'm going to take. All right. If I have to make the platform a little better, I will. Especially on this, see how this edge kind of goes that way opposed to the rest of the point? I'm going to take advantage of that to make a good platform. Because we know that that's not going to make it to the point anyway, so why not use it to our advantage. I know I'm doing a lot of bifaces, but I will finish some points. Promise. And I'm going to bill it down. I think I'm ready to bill it down. Yep, that was probably a good decision. Didn't have very good support. I'm lucky on that one. Lucky I didn't just break my points. Alright, I see some more thick spot down here on the bottom. Need to take care of that. Don't let that get out of control. It's a little windy here. It's a balmy 30-something degrees. Get some mapping done anyway. So I want to clean up some of that high spot that I saw on the base. I know I'm not showing a whole lot in this video, and again, you know, this is just something where I felt like doing some mapping. I decided to turn the camera on. I may or may not post this. We'll see. So that did good. That's starting to thin out nicely. Get my platforms there on the bottom. Try and give myself maybe a continuous platform so I don't have to keep coming back to it. Zigzags give you really good continuous platforms. I mean, I'm sure that's pretty obvious to most of you, but if not, it's something to think about. Bit of a step there. Maybe I should have stayed with that 1 inch. Not too bad though, I can clean it up. Move up to this part up here though. There we go, take that off. As I thinned out a little bit of the base, I feel a little more comfortable coming up to the tip and thinning out some of that as well. So I'll have to zigzag just a tiny bit here. There's some thick spots. No, sometimes you gotta hit it with a little bit of intention. So we're getting there. Still continuing to zigzag when I can. Set myself out with platforms. Alright, now I need to work on this other side here. It's getting a little bit one-sided. I was hitting a little bit harder there because I have some junky area I want to try and undercut, but it didn't work. As you can see, it just gave me chatter. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and clean up the other side and then come back at it. This rock is proving to be a little challenging for me. There we go. I like that sound there. Got a little bit of a hinge right here, but I did give myself a little platform right here. It's all full of quartz, which is kind of giving me a little bit of a problem, but I think I can blow through it, to be honest. We'll find out. Yeah, I think we got through it. Just keep trimming up this side. Zigzagging it. We're going to get a little nice little nick knife out of this. I'm happy about this. Okay, so you can see we're starting to get a nice little neck knife preform. Still pretty thick, but I mean, when you're talking functional knives, you have to remember it's not these, you know, super sexy paper thin points that you see on all these websites and stuff like that that people are selling, because what are you really going to do with those? They're going to break the first time you use them. What you want is you want something thin enough to where you can make it sharp, and real sharp. Sharp enough to cut you like it did to me. So I'm just going to do a little bit of thinning work just to even this up a little bit. There are some thick spots. It is important to kind of have it as even as you can, even if it's a little bit on the thick side, which just really isn't. But even if you do have something on the thick side, you know, even it up, because that'll reduce the difference in, you know, pressure and I don't know what the word I'm looking for is right now, but stress in a particular area. Kind of spread that out throughout the knife. Another good thing about zigzagging, about flipping it over, is it does kind of help you not thin one side more than the other, especially in the finishing stages. So the only thing I don't like about this is I have a real thick spot right down here at the base with some junky material, and I need to take that out. I don't feel comfortable leaving that there. Other than that, once I can get rid of that, I think we're going to call this a good preform. Alright. That was productive. But let's try and a little bit more. Just trying to look and see where the thick spots are, where I can make a platform to shoot off some material. Again, I don't want to be too aggressive, especially right now. I'm in the finishing stages, not the finishing stages of the point, but finishing stages of the preform. So I don't want anything to dive deep. I want to keep everything pretty feathered. Not just because it looks good, but also because it makes the blade a lot stronger. And in the end, that's really what I'm more focused on, is I want this to be a strong, functional blade. I mean, I want it to look nice too, but if it looks nice, but it isn't functional, what's the point, really? So I need to lower this platform a little bit. And I'll show it to you. This is the platform that I'm taking right there in the end. I'm going to take off this thick spot right here. It's the only thick spot left. It's almost like a bulb of percussion. I don't think it is, though. I think it's just a spot that kind of got neglected. I might have to build it up to something a little bit bigger, but there we go. kind of feel when you lose your support, and you get that oh crap feeling like, oh, is my knife gonna crack? Clean up. Oh, I just lost it. Oh, I just broke it again. Just broke it twice. Oh. Well, that's what we're left with. So maybe we turn this back into a point instead of a knife. That's too short to be much of a knife. Let's make it a point. Told you I didn't have a plan. That was support. I probably was getting too much in a rush. Thought I was done. I was ready to just kind of glide through the rest of the process. And the flint knapping guide said, oh yeah, take this. It's alright though. I would have liked a knife, but I'll take a point. Alright. So here's the trying to kind of clean this up, give it some symmetry. This is going to be pressure flaked anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But you do want it to be symmetrical. At least somewhat. I don't know if this video is going to be useful to anybody or not, but I'm probably going to post it anyway, just because, I don't know, it's good to see people fail. You'll learn from it. Definitely disappointing though. I mean, you see the size of ridge that I started with. What I'm ending up with. It's a little saddening. But you deal with what you have to deal with, and I'm sure the old boys had to deal with it too. They were just much better. Alright, so I feel like I'm just making this worse. This is the exact kind of napping I was doing when I cut myself. Same type of downward cleaning. Because it just creates such sharp flakes. Like really sharp. Like I just felt something right there that if I didn't have the glove on, probably would have cut me. Now there are a lot of people that don't wear gloves. So I mean, clearly it's probably a skill level thing. But I'm not too proud to wear the gloves until I reach that same point. So we got a nice point preform there. And we got a lot of tools out of that big piece. I mean, it's a little disappointing that such a big piece turned into something tiny, but when you really watch, you know, the masters when they're flint knapping and they start with these giant pieces of flint and they end up with this, you know, obviously a longer blade or things like that, you see the amount of waste and you realize that you really, it's all about what you can get out of that piece of flint. It's not about not wasting it. It's hard to think that way, you know, especially for someone like me that has to pay for my material. So I'm always thinking, how can I get the most out of this? But in reality, if you have a big piece of rock and you can get a useful tool that's going to get you dinner, you know, protect you, that type of thing, that's the most important out of everything. So now I'm going to take this thick edge down here where it broke off, and I'm going to try and feather it in to the rest of the point, just a little bit. I mean, we're still making a preform here, so I'm not looking to make this perfect, but I need to get rid of that thick point or it'll never have to anything. I don't want to flute it, I just want to feather it. If I can feather it without hinging, that'd be even better. Alright. So a little bit on this side. I think I'm going to flip it over. So I thinned a little bit on this side. And now I'm going to flip it over and try and thin this side a little bit. Just so that when I go to finish it, I can pressure flake it a little bit thinner. You know, and then do the notching. I got a couple of steps here, so I don't know how far these will travel, but again, I don't need them to travel too far. Right, actually do this. I'm gonna do the same thing, but just on my pad. I'm going to flip it back over because what was happening is this side is still lower than this side. The side that I thinned is still kind of angled that way, which is never going to give me a platform, so I do need to take care of that. I should have known that ahead of time. This might result in a couple of hinges, but you'll never see them when it's hafted. Still a little bit at that steep angle. I may have to actually zigzag this. That's a good way to get around that. If I can just very lightly zigzag it. If I can't get the platform that I want, I'll zigzag it. Just slightly though, because I don't want to lose. I lost so much of this preform. What am I missing a lot today? It might be better off for me to pack it up, try it another day. Don't ever force it. Because what will happen is you'll spend all day trying to make up for the mistakes you made and the failure that you made, and you'll hyper focus on it, and then 2 days later you'll wake up and you'll be like, oh, I know exactly what I did and why I just destroyed 3 spalls in a row. So don't force it. It's like anything else that I've found anyway in life, is that, you know, if you start finding yourself in some sort of a rut or having a reoccurring problem, just step away. Step away and come back to it another time with a clear perspective. And I don't know why it works, but it does. You'll come back and you'll do 100 times better than you would have. But I'm still happy. We've got a bunch of tools that we got out of the, take my glove off, We got a bunch of tools out of that stone, and I've got a bunch of flakes in my bucket that will probably produce other tools if I need them to. And we got a nice preform to an arrowhead here. This will shape up really nicely. And, you know, as far as value is concerned to me, this will be worth working on that spall. You know, because like I said, we got some tools out of it. We did a little bit of practice on things we don't normally do, or that I don't normally do. And we still ended up with something that we can turn into a finished project. So if you made it to the end of this video, you're awesome, because I'm sure this is one of the most boring videos I've ever made. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an awesome day. If you're not having an awesome day, turn this video off, go outside, breathe some fresh air, come back, watch it again. And until next time, this is Paleo Greenbird. I'm signing out.